In that direction is Winter Bulgarum, the name for the modern day city of Winchester. In that direction is Calleva Atrebatum, the Roman abandoned city just outside Silchester, north of Basingstoke. And this, what I'm walking on now, is the imprint of the Roman road which led from Winter Bulgarum to Calleva Atrebatum some 2 millennia ago.
In AD 43, the Roman Emperor Claudius landed an invasion force on the shores of Britain at Richborough in Kent. By the year 80, and now under the governorship of Agricola, all of England and Wales was under Roman control. With it, a number of settlements sprang up, most of which still exist today in their modern guise. To link these settlements, so as to conduct trade and more importantly move troops around, it was essential to construct a vast network of roads, the routes of which many are still in use today. This one, which was labelled 42A by the British historian Ivan Margery, who devised the numbering system for the country's Roman road network, runs for approximately 23 miles and originates in Winchester. It begins by following the route of today's A33 road until running adjacent to the village of Dummer, where it takes on the guise of a footpath before continuing northeast past Basingstoke and east of Tadley before finally arriving at Roman Silchester. Now we're beginning our journey at Old Down Park on the very southwestern edge of Basingstoke. Prior to this, the road runs along the A33 from Winchester, with little to note other than the possible existence of the fabled settlement of Windomis. Heading northeast for approximately 11 miles, Roman road number 42A is at this stage a footpath which edges the Kempshire estate, and this part of Basingstoke is rich in ancient history, with a number of Bronze Age burial mounds also visible in Old Down Park, which offers the prospect that this road is even older than Roman. I have to say that of all the walks and explorations I've undertaken whilst doing Pathfinder, I find that these along ancient roads are very much left to the imagination. For although we still have a route as such, the alignment may differ slightly, with nothing solid to search for other than lumps, bumps and ditches in the ground. And after so many centuries, even these may be red herrings, which is why maps are so valuable to these explorers. It's very different when searching an old railway line, for example, which in many cases has only been disappeared for less than a century, and even then tangible evidence in the form of stone or metalwork still exists, most of the time on the surface. Nevertheless, probably for that reason, I find these walks all the more intriguing to know that I'm walking in the footsteps of people from a long lost link to history.
We're now coming to the first point where any further progress is blocked. Our Roman road should continue that way, and we've got a small path, but it peters away into bushes and brambles. But what this does give, and it may be modern, but it gives a sunken lane. You can see this path that I'm walking up now is rising. The bank drops down there, and then if we go back here, this little bit of footpath is definitely on a sunken level. So we may not be a million miles away from our Roman road surface here. But to go on any further, we're going to have to go round. So, onto the next walkable part of our route, and that's here on Old Kempshot Lane, as we approach the area known as Worting, and also the first part usable by road vehicles since departing the A33 south of Basingstoke. We've now crossed Worting Road, where ahead of us this huge embankment was constructed when the London and South Western Railway built their line from Southampton in 1840. Fortunately, they provided a tunnel which preserves our road's route, which leads out onto the aptly named Roman Road, which you can see emerging on the other side. I'm just on the northwestern edge of Basingstoke at the moment. We've got fields that side. This is the estate of Winklebury here, and then Basingstoke is going in that way. But if I was under any doubt as to we're on the right road, I think that pretty much confirms things. Let's move back onto our northeast alignment. As I said earlier, over there we've got some fields which haven't been touched. When I say haven't been touched, they haven't had anything built on them. We're bang on the alignment of road number 42A, our Roman road to Calleva. And I've always thought that walking along here, that in those fields there must have been finds over the years that the farmer has dug up whilst ploughing. The odd coin, a spur from, you know, a horse rider, or even some horse equipment, a broken wheel, the metal that comes to make up carts, or even maybe spearheads or knives and things like that. It's a tantalising thought.
Going to Google Maps, we'll leave Roman Road and arrive into Rooksdown, where the road is interrupted by much recent development and largely lost, although soon picked up again on the other side. Now, zooming out, the map shows the full route is easily identifiable, but what is not clear is the date of construction. The Roman aspect is almost certainly mid to late 1st century, but as I said before, both Winchester and Silchester were established settlements in the late Iron Age, which ended with the Roman arrival in AD 43, and it's extremely possible that a lesser route of communication linked these two important places before the arrival of the Romans.
We're now exiting the Rooksdown area, coming to a bit of a wooded glade, wood, whatever you want to call it. Interestingly, this is the same area the Park Pruitt Railway used to run through, and that's for another film. But we're exiting the built up area, so you've got these houses. Our Roman road, the 42A, is exactly on that alignment, so we're going to turn round and we're going to walk this way. We've got a golf club in front of us, but very handily we've got a footpath to the side, and this is exactly on our road. Now I'm hoping we can get all the way to the other side of the golf course. It'll bring us out just south of Sherborne St John onto the Aldermaston Road, a busy road, but I'm hoping we can get on there. When we get to Sherborne St John, I'm hoping there'll be some evidence or of something interesting, or something interesting that's been found there in the past, I should say. Anyway, let's see how we get on. We managed to get through the golf course, and then we're now on to the A340. We're just south of Sherborne St John. You may be able to see some houses down there But we're also back definitely on the road, on our road to Calleva, just for a short stretch where we've got the straight bit.
Sherborne St John was important to the 1st to 5th century traveller, and indeed their horses, as this was one of the few places to find fresh running water along the entire route, thanks to the streams which cross the village from west to east, which are still visible today. The road now takes on a kind of an S shape, and this is where the modern and Roman roads diverge. The Roman would have continued straight on through the trees. You can see that more clearly on the map. So here is our map of Sherborne St John, with the bend in the route of the Aldermaston Road clearly visible. And if I add the Roman road, the divergence is clear, with our route heading northeast into the fields.
You may have noticed I'm in a field. We've got a rivery watercress beds behind us over there, and we're just north of Sherborne St John. We've got the A340 just over there. Oh, look, a bus. But where I'm standing in this field, I've worked out we're bang on the alignment of our road, going northeast that way. We're going to continue going that way, but on top of that ridge is the first point of interest on our route, really, and it's marked on the Victorian maps as a Roman marching camp. So let's go and have a look. Okay, we've got to the top of our ridge. We was just down the bottom there, about, you know, the last time you saw us. And I've got a theory. So this is the area of our enclosure. It was trapezoid sort of area. This is the northern part, and let's put any ideas of stone enclosures out of our mind. This would have been earthen enclosures with a bank, possibly a ditch, not very big. But this here, where I'm standing, would have been the northern part of the enclosure, the Roman camp that's marked on the maps. On this side, we've got another bank going down, goes down onto the A340, quite a steep one. You can see there, we've got another ridge going down. If you look to where that wooden fence is, the ridge goes along there. Where Tony's standing over there, there's a bit of a dip. You see where the fence drops a little bit? That is pretty much our area of where our road is. So our road was running from south to north that way, and it's exactly where Tony stood now. This is a brilliant defensive area. It's got ridges all round. The ground drops there, the ground drops there, the ground drops there, and the ground drops there on all four sides. I think it's got good evidence of our Roman camp. I think the best way to look is to look for parch marks on some maps, and I'll do that next.
Back to the National Library of Scotland for this one, and our Roman camp is slap bang in the middle of this 1890s map, with the line of the road running along its eastern edge. Now, if we look at this image taken in 2017, well, it speaks for itself. The trapezoid shape of the camp is clearly visible in the grass.
We're slightly north of Sherborne St John now, and the top of that ridge is the northern edge of the Roman enclosure that we've just looked at. Do you remember we looked down the ridge when I was explaining the area? We've got another enclosure just over there. We've got our main road snakes off to the left, but our Roman road goes through the middle of this field. Now you see where the dark trees are. There's a woman walking her dog, and above her is the dark trees. Just to the right of there is another enclosure. Now this one is probably not Roman. It could be, but it's highly likely to be medieval. However, it's bang on the alignment of the Roman road. If you look just to the right of the last of the tall dark trees, you can see that the ground dips slightly, and that, I think, that is the exact area for the road, and I think the dip is indicating where that road was. So we're going to go and have a little bit. I don't think we can get to the enclosure itself, but I'm going to move over there just to see if we can get a better look. So we've reached our next destination. There's the top of that ridge where the last enclosure was. We've walked all the way around here. Yes, we've got wet feet. You can't really see the dip that we saw up there. There's a tree behind it, but you can see the fence line dropping slightly, then rising, but the actual dip is where that tree is. Our road came right through here, but the best evidence is right here in front of me. Do you remember I said there was a dip in the ground that you could see? Well, we're right opposite it now, and this time you can't really miss it. Now this is bang on the alignment of the road, and that other enclosure that I said about is also right there, but I think this is as far as we're going to be able to go. So the only other way we're going to be able to look over there is on maps, maybe.
Back to Google Maps, and we're really getting our money's worth from maps in this explore. This is the 2017 view again, and here we have the first enclosure. And look at this, the road is actually visible in the fields. How wonderful is that? The second enclosure, however, isn't that visible. Its location is here, and as I said, likely not to be Roman, but probably associated due to its proximity to the road. It's actually believed that the enclosure went out of use with the abandonment of the road, estimated to be sometime around the 14th century.
Well, I've moved on about a mile and a half-ish north of the last enclosure that we looked at, just the other side of those woods. I'm now in those woods. This is Morgaston Woods, and I'm standing as close as I can work out to the alignment of the road. And in fact, and it's probably going to be very difficult to see on the camera, but there is a track, a ridge, and it goes dead straight through there. There's lots of trees that's going to break up the image of it, but there is a ridge. It's a high ridge that runs through there. However, if I turn the other way, just duck under this tree, and we get a much, because of heavy rainfall recently, there's our ridge running through there. You can see the higher ground, and we've got water that side, heavy rain lately, so we've got rainwater that side, rainwater that side, so it highlights. You can see it dips that side, dips side, and I'm standing currently on the agate at the moment. And as I walk along, you can, it's very clear to me, I just hope it's that clear on the camera, that you can see the higher ridge that I'm walking on. What I'll do, I'll look on Google Maps and see if I can pinpoint my location, and hopefully that will correlate with the rest of the road running from south to north. But I'm, even without looking on Google Maps, I'm pretty convinced that I'm bang on the alignment of our road as we head towards Calleva.
Okay, this is a screenshot of my position taken on my phone, which is indicated by the blue circle. And here we have an aerial view of Morgaston Wood. So let's superimpose my position upon that. Okay, there we go. And then to finish, let's add the road's alignment. Well, there you have it. Superb. I'm absolutely bang on.
I must say, since leaving Basingstoke behind me and following the route of this road, once we get out into the countryside, it's nice and peaceful, and you can relax a lot more. This is Latchmere Green, or Latchmore Green. Both spellings are on the OS map. Take what you want. But in this field to the left, let's just go over here. So our road would have run right through this field here, from south to north. Obviously nothing to see, but in this field, in the Victorian period, a large amount of Roman pottery was found.
It was also in this area that a late Iron Age mirror was found as part of a cremation, which I believe is on display at the Museum of the Iron Age in Andover.
We're still in Latchmere Green, and our road would have come out of these trees here and it would have crossed this road. This road is Frog Lane, and it would have gone into this field at approximately this area. I'm pretty much bang on it. But I'm going to move out onto Ash Lane now. That's this road in front of me. I'm going to continue north just for a few yards, a couple of 100 yards, because there is something interesting just a bit further up. So here we are, 100 yards or so north of Frog Lane, which is behind me. Still on Ash Lane. Our road runs about 20 foot the other side of those trees from south to north. But the interesting thing here is this is an interchange point where another Roman road joined our road, 42A. And that came from the southeast, and it would have joined coming in over here, and it was from what is known today as modern day Chichester, or in Roman times Novi Amegas. And it's the only road that joins ours from Winchester to Silchester. And it was only discovered in the mid-20th century thanks to aerial photography. Unfortunately, we have a record of it today. Well, I'm walking up a slight gradient of this wonderful sunken road. This is Church Lane, and this is the last part of our road before entering Calleva. This part here runs exactly on the alignment, only for about 100 yards or so. But it's nice to have part of the original Roman road still in use, almost up to the end. Our road would have diverged from the modern road, so Church Road goes round to the right there and then flanks the wall, the southern wall, whereas our road would have gone into the trees at approximately the area of the bend, and then it would have crossed the few yards left into the southern gate of Calleva Atrebatum.